All right, beautiful. So we're back with identity switch and swap, fake ID check. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Our scripture for this session is Ecclesiastic 10:7. It says, I have seen servants upon horses and prince walking as servants upon the earth. Okay, so meditate upon that scripture. That scripture is so powerful, and it's just going to give you a lot of spiritual enlightenment as well. So defining ID switch and swap. What is identity swap? Identity swap occurs when one individual take or steal another person's identity for the purpose of living as them. All right. So now what is psychological identity switch? Okay. Psychological identity switch is when a person learn your personality, your behavior, your interests, your mannerism, your life story, okay, your style, and they attempt to embody your energy and be like you. I'm pretty sure you can testify. You saw that narcissist acting like you, doing things like you, saying things that you said. I mean, just copying everything. This is a psychological identity switch that was taking place, and you did not even know what was happening. With psychological identity switch comes spiritual identity switch. So spiritual identity switch is when a person practices witchcraft. This can be through spells, manipulation, through soul tie. And the purpose of this is to exchange your destiny with theirs. So this is where you get destiny swapping from. And narcissists definitely do this. They don't even have to practice in witchcraft to do it, because narcissists are cursed. When you tie to them, you receive their curse, and they receive your blessings and your light as well. You are the light. So when you're with a narcissist, whatever darkness they was living in, they receive your light, and give you their light as well. Now you have some narcissists that actually practice dark magic. The individual that I was with was actually a warlock. So he actually practiced the dark art and offered me as a sacrifice. And I actually got to see this thing take place. So it is very real, and you have to understand it's important that you get your ID back. Until then, you're not going to be able to live the life that God has created you to live. So we're going to look at biblical example of ID switch and swap. And we're going to really pay attention to Genesis chapter 27 and in verse 18 to 46. We're going to go ahead and go through it. In this book, we're not going to read all the way from 18 to 26, but definitely take some time to read it. I'll just go over a few for you. So in here, it says, he went to his father. This is the story about Esau and Jacob. It says, he went to his father and said, my father. Yes, my son, he answered. Who is it? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau. So now this is Jacob deceiving his father. He said, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may give me your blessing. Then Isaac said to Jacob, come near so I can touch you, my son, to know whether you really are my son Esau or not. And the next verse says, Jacob went close to his father Isaac, who touched him and said, the voice is of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. He did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he proceeded to bless him. Are you really my son Esau? He asked. I am, he replied. And that is Genesis 27, verse 21 to 24. So you see here, you have this man, Jacob, and you have the older brother. In tradition, the blessings go to the older child, and Jacob knew that his father was going to bless his brother, so he deceived his father in order to receive that blessing. That is identity swap right there. A destiny transfer has taken place, and the key note that we can take from this is spiritual identity switch cannot occur without first stealing someone's identity. So if you read the whole story, Jacob took some hairy, I don't know if it was goat hair or whatever, he placed the hair on his arm. And that's why the father asked to touch him, to feel his arm. Well, that was part of Esau's identity. Esau was a very hairy man. So he knew that, therefore he stole part of that identity, and his father felt him as well. And that's how he was able to give the blessings, even though he knew the voice was the voice of Jacob. Next thing is, there has to be a physical point of contact or connection between the individual in order for a destiny swap or ID swap to take place. A stranger cannot steal your identity. They cannot do anything spiritually because they don't know any information. However, when this person comes into your place of intimacy and they know you and they study you, they definitely are able to do that. So this was a spiritual identity switch that took place in the realm of the spirit. The blessings the father spoke over Jacob belonged to Esau. However, due to the manipulation that Jacob did to receive the blessing, in order for him to receive the blessing, he used his brother fake ID. So that is what fake ID looks like from a biblical perspective. And this is things that we actually gone through as well. So what happened to the person who ID is stolen? Your ID has been stolen from the narcissist. Your good essence, the light that is in you, it has been stolen. The narcissist went along with your light. I'm pretty sure when they came into your life, they were depressed, down, and bad, financially ruined, and all of that, but they left you in that situation. So a destiny swap definitely happened. So what happened to a person that this happened to, such as yourself? So the first thing is your heart become broken and there is a cry for help. We're going to look at Genesis 27 verse 34. It says, when Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me too, my father. So Esau came back, and then he found out his brother stole his blessing, and he's crying out of a broken heart for his father to bless him. The next thing that happened to the individual is you lose your inheritance, your spiritual blessing. Genesis 27:36 says, Esau said, isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright, and now he has taken my blessing. Then he asks, haven't you reserved any blessing for me? So when you get in a narcissistic relationship, it's not just your identity that is stolen, but your spiritual blessings as well. It is what is stolen. This is why you find yourself in the situation that you're in, where your finances are messed up, you lost your peace, your desire, and all of those things. The inheritance that God has given you spiritually, this person has stolen that. Now, don't you be worried, because you can get it back. You listen, I'm going to teach you some things. You're going to get it all back plus more, okay? The next thing that happened is you receive the other person their curse, okay? So they receive your blessing, you receive their curse. Genesis 27:40 says, you will live by the sword and you will serve your brother, but when you grow restless, you would throw his yoke from off of your neck. So this is Isaac telling his son, yes, your brother stole your blessings and you're going to serve your brother, but there will come a time where you will break that yoke from off of you as well. So Esau had to live a life pretty much that wasn't really what God intended it for him. But the blessings in this is that scripture let us know you can break that yoke from off of you. The next thing is you will live the life of the other person instead of your true destiny that God has planned for you. And this is going to be according to Genesis 27 verse 37. It says, Isaac answered Esau, I have made him lord over you and have made all his relative his servant. I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son? Okay, so Esau is now going to be a servant unto Jacob when it should have been the other way around. This is the situation that happened when you're in a narcissistic abuse. The next thing that happens is you suffer from depression, pain, bitterness, anger, and even hate. And according to Genesis 27 verse 41, it says, Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessings his father had given him. He said to him, the days of mourning of my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. Okay? Now let's be honest. Let's be transparent. I'm pretty sure you can relate to that verse, the anger, the pain that you felt once you found out this individual robbed you, they lied to you, they stole from you. You understand that pain that that Esau had endured. And it's completely normal for us to feel that pain. But this is what happened when there is an identity switch that occur and destiny swapping. It brings us to that place of being bitter and angry. So how is this kind of identity switching done? How does people really do that? And we're going to look at Genesis 27 verse 35. But he said, your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing. So deceit is a form of manipulation as well. The few ways that destiny's identity switching take place is one, witchcraft. Witchcraft is the number one way that people can steal your identity and do a destiny swap. Soul tie. When you have a soul tie with someone that is demonic and your soul is one, you receive what is theirs and they take what is yours. The next thing is through destiny swapping. Now, destiny swapping is also witchcraft, but this is done with individuals who actually, they practice witchcraft and sorcery and they know how to do these things. The last thing on here is through manipulation and deception as well. These are the few ways that identity switch and destiny swap occur. So you just want to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pause here for a minute. And I want you to reflect. What do you think has been stolen from you when it comes to your identity and your good essence? What do you believe the narcissist has taken from you? Take a moment and reflect on that. Reflect, how do you feel currently in this state about this information? And take your time and write down those feelings and be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I went through it, so go ahead and do that. I'll give you some time. We'll pause for 60 seconds and let you go through that process. All right, so your 60-second is up and we are back. Class is in session. All right, so the next thing on here that we're going to discuss is the danger of spiritual and psychological identity switch. Our scripture is going to be Genesis 27 verse 36, and it reads, Esau said, isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright and now he has taken my blessing. Then he said, haven't you reserved any blessing for me? So the danger of this, of identity switching, is identity switch bring curses on both parties. One just enjoy for a little while. So in this situation, you receive a curse, the narcissist receive a curse. The narcissist is enjoying, but that joy is temporary, okay? The next thing is the person that stole lose their bishopric, okay? So we have bishopric, your bishopric, this is your spiritual office. this is the office that you hold. So if you go ahead and you're switching destiny with individual, you lose that spiritual office. In Psalms 109 verse 8, it says, let his days be few and let another take his office. All right. So when the narcissist does something wicked, please do not think something God is going to bless them. No, they actually lose their spiritual office and their what God has given to them for them to do on this earth. They lose that right. It brings the individual whose ID was stolen into bondage for a time until the curse is broken off of them. And we see in Genesis 27 verse 40, it reads, and by the sword shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off of your neck. Okay? So this thing, it brings you in bondage, but the bondage is temporary until the curse is either over, or you engage and petition the courts of God and break that stronghold from off of you. The next thing is, it stunts both party development psychologically. So the one that stole your identity never gets to truly develop and be who God created them to be. Hence the narcissist. The narcissist is a shell of themselves and have so many ID that they collected from their victims. They never got to grow psychologically or develop themselves to have their own identity. The victim whose identity was stolen struggled to recover, often due to hardship. They lost time of their life that could have been spent on development. So it is only by God's grace and mercy do time get restored back to your life, and you're able to catch up in life and catch up in your development. God said in his word that he will restore the years that we have lost. So based on the situation you have endured, you can definitely guarantee that God will restore that time as well. The next thing is, the victim struggled greatly in life just to get by. Your ID carry your blessings as well. Therefore, when it is stolen, you lose that blessing until deliverance occur. All right. So the next thing on here is, it causes anger and bitterness to take root in your heart, in the victim heart, for the unjust action, which leads to demonic possession or oppression. So it is so important, even though what the narcissist did is completely evil, you want to definitely avoid anger and bitterness, because that is a wound that demonic entity would feast on. And we see that with Esau in Genesis 27:41, and it reads, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then I will slay my brother. So that anger and bitterness took root in his heart to where it led to murder. So if you find yourself in that situation where you're being angry and you want revenge, go ahead and start praying and seeking the face of God, because you definitely don't want to take matter into your own hands. Spiritually, it's not going to solve your situation. Lastly, death occurs, okay? Due to the hardship of the victim life, many victims end up committing suicide. If you're having any suicidal thoughts, please reach out to help and support. Everything that you're going through can be restored. It is not permanent. So suicide is not the answer. So you definitely want to go ahead and reach out to your support system, reach out to help, whatever help that you can get. But it is not the end. So that is all for right now for this session. The next session is we're going to be discussing what is the purpose for identity switching. What is the purpose for identity switching? Why do people do this? Why did the narcissist do this? We're going to go ahead and discuss that in this session. So narcissists are not just toxic individual that you had a relationship with. These are individuals that comes to steal your identity and transfer their identity onto you. So identity switching usually occur when a person is unsatisfied with their life, they hate themselves, and they desire to be someone else and have that person life and all that comes with this individual. So the purpose for identity switching is to steal your star. That is the light, the essence of you, the light that God has placed within you, to steal your blessings and your divine inheritance, to be like you, all right, and to live your life as well, to desire to have your soul, your mind, will, and your emotion as their own. This is because these individuals don't work out their trauma, and they see that you have a good heart, your soul is right, and everything like that, and they think by doing this destiny swap they can have that. Destiny swap is also to walk as you spiritually on the earth and transfer their bad energy and curses onto you as well. So when an individual do identity switching, this take place in the realm of the spirit. Destiny swap take place, and now they're living your life. They're walking as you, using your energy, and you're as them as well. So that is the purpose for it. And here are a few ways narcissist does identity switching, both spiritually and psychologically. So first, they siphon your energy doing sex, and they leave you drained later on. I'm pretty sure you have stories of your sexual intercourse. You just felt drained. It is not normal, even though sexual intercourse, it's like a workout, okay? It's like a workout in there, but you never feel drained. You're not to feel drained after sexual intercourse. I'm pretty sure you can witness to this, that it wasn't normal. It wasn't a normal, I'm tired. You felt drained. That's because they were siphoning your energy. So, second point is they transfer their curses over to you based on the soul tie. So when you sleep with them, you have relationship with them, your soul become one with them, and that is how the transfer of spirit take place and the identity switch happen. This is destiny swapping is also done through witchcraft and spell casting as well. Narcissists study your personality, your life story, and they make it their own. Was the narcissist asking you a lot about your life, your story, and things like that? It wasn't because they wanted to know. They're creating a profile of you so that they can act and be like you when they go out in the public. They embody your style of dressing, speaking, and other interests as their own as well. So they will learn things, they will study you, and make their own. They project who they are onto you. So they'll say things as, you are not worthy, you are worthless. And really, that is the narcissist telling you that's how they feel about themselves. But they project that onto you. So you take on that ID and they take on your real ID as well. The spirit within them create a fake ID profile for the narcissist of your identity. And they wear that identity for a certain purpose. And when you're not around, they even use your ID to get new supply, believe it or not. The narcissists use your ID as well to get new supply. So here are the reflection for this week that I want you to reflect on. Few questions here on this journey. I want you to write these questions down and take 5 minutes and answer them. Number one, how did the narcissist steal your ID? Based on what you have learned, how did this steal your identification? Number two, what part of you do you feel is missing? All right, you have to identify that. What do you feel is missing? Number three, what part of the narcissist's ID did you gain? What part of their identification was transferred into you that you're carrying around? And number four, how can you reclaim your identity? I want you to go ahead and reflect on those questions. Take some time and reflect on it, and we'll be back and move on to how did you gain your fake identification. That is going to be the next teaching. All right.